I'm now joined by a very special guest, Francesca Marino, joining me from Italy. She is a journalist, she's a writer, she's written extensively on Balochistan and clearly must be witnessing all that is happening and has a lot to say on the India-Canada showdown. Francesca, thank you for joining me in this telecast. My first question is, I'm sure you've been witnessing the showdown and literally an unnecessary damage to India-Canada ties that has happened by the allegations that Justin Trudeau has made. We can see he appears to be globally isolated. I don't see Western nations speaking in his support the way he would have liked earlier. What is your assessment of this whole situation right now?
My assessment was since the beginning about double standards. First of all, well, there's a first part. You don't accuse a friendly state and ally to have committed an extrajudicial murder if you don't have proofs. When Turkey accused Saudi Arabia, they showed proofs immediately. I mean, this is the way you do it if you want
exactly.
to. You don't rely on credible information or possible links. This is, I mean, not even in play school you do this. I mean, the least you can say is irritual. There must be a reason why he did it and why he did it now. The other thing is double standards. It was my first thought. It was the first thought of many people I know. When Karima Baluch was killed in Toronto, Canada, on Canadian soil, he said nothing, not a word. The Canadian government refused to comment on the death of an activist, not a terrorist, not somebody with red notices of Interpol on her head, but somebody who was actually been put by BBC on the list of the 100 most influential and inspiring women in 2016. Somebody who had been receiving threats to her life for the longest time in Pakistan and in Canada. The Canadian government had nothing to say, nothing, not a word. And the investigation has been closed within 2 days. And since the beginning, even though she was in Canada as a political refugee, even then, the death of Karima was investigated immediately as a non-criminal case. Double standards, why?
I'm glad that you pointed out this, Francesca, because that's what a lot of people I know have pointed out too, that a woman who was actually an activist and her killing had Canada about to say nothing on that, didn't take on Pakistan at all. But for an extremist like Nijjar to say and accuse India on allegations in the House of Commons. What happens here on, as because you've also been witnessing how the ties have clearly gone down, it has become a diplomatic war. Do you think statements like these by Justin Trudeau would eventually give a boost? It would encourage the Khalistani extremists more, thinking they can use this or the liberal nature, so to say, of Canadian authorities to try and get more citizenship, try and launch more anti-India activities, despite India telling Canada for years, for decades since the 1980s, these are Khalistani extremists. They don't represent the larger Sikh community and they just keep giving citizenship to men like Nijjar.
See, I think there is a political reason. Of course, everybody knows the only reason why Trudeau is kept there in the government is his alliance with a party led by a Khalistani sympathizer. So it's a matter of survival for him. Regarding Khalistanis, we have them in Italy yesterday, 2 days ago in Italy. there's been a huge fight in Pordenone, in a village near Pordenone, between Khalistanis, between six actually, for the control of the local Gurupara. Huge fight. A group was chasing the other group with swords. The local journalists have interviewed members of the local Sikh community, which are totally scared, and they are saying they would leave the area because these groups are trying to take control. And these groups are the same groups trying, holding the so-called referendum for free Khalistan, for free Punjab. Even in Italy, they did it in Rome time ago. I mean, after UK in Europe, in Italy, we have the biggest Sikh community. So they are doing it.
I remember that you've written about it, I think a year or two ago, about how Europe, or specifically even Rome, Italy, they are being misused. Their asylum seeking opportunities are being misused by some of the Khalistani extremists as well. What do you have to say about Europe specifically now, beyond United States of America or beyond Canada? Do you think these extremists are going to be appealing to other countries and misuse this whole? They're going to lie about how they are being persecuted and will want, as criminals, gangsters, they'll want to take these asylum positions in Europe too. And what should the governments in different countries in Europe should do about it? Should they be more cautious?
See, of course, the Trudeau stand will serve as a ground for Khalistanis to claim they are persecuted by India. What always makes me wonder is that, you know, we had that famous book in Italy, that Christ stopped the Eboli, written by somebody taken into the Jews, into the Nazist camps. What always puzzles me is that Khalistan stops at Wagah. In sense, these guys are just claiming Punjab, the Indian Punjab. But nobody always highlights this here, or even in US, Canada. It is not a fight for Punjab in the West. Many don't know, but it is half Indian, half Pakistani.
And that's so true that you've actually mentioned there are two most important Sikh holy sites that are in Punjab, where the Pakistan authorities have also persecuted Sikhs, but the Khalistanis never talk about it. In fact, Najjar was seen posing with assault rifles and with extremists in Pakistan as well in one of his visits. And somehow Pakistan never becomes a mention for the Khalistanis. There's, of course, unsurprisingly, an ISI link to all of this too. My final question to you about this, Francesca, would be, how do you think India should go here on? Because right now, of course, there is a stand that India has taken, people of India have taken too, but this, and the world is watching. What do you think world needs to learn from what Justin Trudeau has done right now between two friendly nations, and possibly also breaking ties between two communities, the Hindus and the Sikhs?
I mean, Justin Trudeau does not enjoy good press all over Europe. I mean, he's a little more than a clown. Is the last thing, doing a standing ovation to a former Nazi is speaks for itself, and speaks also for the great intelligence they have. If they are not able to find out that a Canadian citizen, I mean somebody who has been given Canadian citizenship, was a former Nazi, I mean, it was enough a Google search, not deep intelligence. It is like Nijar. I mean, just a Google search. For he was not a plumber, unless plumbers go working in houses holding AK-47. It was just enough a Google search, not deep intelligence. Like it was enough a Google search to know that Karim Baluch
Yes.
had been threatened repeatedly, even in Canada, with calls saying, we'll give you a nice Christmas gift. You are not, yes, they knew, but Pakistan is never mentioned in all this because, like China, is never mentioned. The Canadian government trying to, go smooth on the fact that China had been trying rigging their election, threatening parliamentarian. But, their intelligence is very strange, works in a very strange way.
Eventually, Francesca, it looks like it'll damage, if no other country, but Canada itself eventually, because when you don't speak for real activists who are killed, but terrorists and extremists like Nijjar, eventually those extremists are going to become a Frankenstein that even possibly Canada's government would not be able to control.
Yeah.
I appreciate you joining us, Francesca. It's been a fantastic conversation and you made some very brilliant points. I wish you all the best. Francesca Marino joining us from Italy. Thank you very much.